Like with everything else, if you're not growing, if you're not improving, you're starting to fall behind, right? Nothing different with financial success as well. Axio it prides himself in taking that lifelong learning to the next level. We're going to talk about that a little bit today, explore how Axio goes beyond just those continuing education classes they need to take to continue to strive for more and more when it comes to financial and wealth management. That's all coming up next. Welcome in. This is Legacy Beyond Wealth. Great to have you once again here on the show and on the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. Education is so important. I mean, Rob, this is the reason why we're doing this video, right? Is to try to help continue to inform and educate people.
Absolutely. And I'm sure my mom's going to get a good kick out of this episode because she probably has a lot of stories about me in high school claiming that, can't wait to be done learning. And here I am talking about the need for lifelong learning. So, Mom, if nothing else, this one's for you.
That's great. I was in a similar boat, Rob, where I didn't care as much. I didn't have an appreciation for knowledge and learning when I was younger. I had other goals and other interests, and now looking back, I wish I would have spent more time there. But look, it's never too late to take that next step, right? I mean, a lot of that's with what you do. It's go back and change those habits, and maybe you wish you would have done so earlier, but now is the time to do so. And let's talk a little bit about lifelong learning today. And again, if you have questions, we'd love to hear from you. All the contact info is down below, but it's on axiowm.com as well. You can learn much more about Axio Wealth Management. But I want to talk about you specifically first before we talk about clients, because I think for you guys, I don't think people always see and know how much work you're putting in to continue to grow what your information base, your knowledge base. So kind of take us into that world and kind of how you prioritize learning and what you do every day.
Yeah, we all have professional licenses in our industry that you have to take continuing education credits to prove that you're on this process of continuing learning. But one thing I've learned in the industry is that's like the lowest barrier to continuing education that you can have. The bar is set so low. And boy, I want to go beyond that to be able to gain greater knowledge than just the minimum to maintain my licenses, to be able to help clients out. And so, that's something big at our firm. We go through it every Friday as we're breaking up components of training and making sure the staff is on a continual path of progression and learning, as well as myself. When we put a pretty size of money, sum of money aside every year to make sure we're attending conferences and trying to learn from the brightest of minds that we know in our industry to make sure that we have the tools to help out our clients.
Yeah, give me some examples of that, Rob. I'm curious kind of what that looks like for you guys. How, specifically kind of the types of things you're trying to learn, and then also how that does actually translate to benefiting the people you work with.
Yeah, I think two ways I've learned to learn are that we utilize as expert groups and mastermind groups. And, with an expert group where I love getting together with other peers. I've learned long ago that the more brains you have involved in a situation is better because you get so many different perspectives that are out there. And so I love getting together 3 or 4 times a year with different other financial advisors from across the country. They're working with the same caliber of families and just brainstorming with them about what they're doing and what we could learn from them. I also love giving back to that group and sharing with them what we're doing. And what we find is coming out of that meeting, everyone's elevated. Everyone's learning something that they could do better at or something they didn't know before and what they could take back to benefit their clients. The other type of group is a mastermind group. And, this is where having a mentor comes into play that can kind of lead that mastermind group. And we belong to a couple that are out there. But getting together with them to be able to have other industry experts come in from the outside that maybe give us a better perspective on things that we could be able to perform or do. One I've done before is working with a speaking coach, to better communicate ideas and suggestions and framing to clients to be able, how bad is that if you have a really great idea, but you can't communicate it in an effective manner? Other ideas might be bringing in a tax professional or estate planning professional to be able to learn a little bit more about what's changing in their industry and knowing how you can be able to help a client out.
Is that something that a person watching can maybe apply to their own life and their own financial growth to kind of apply these kind of same approaches to what they're doing?
Absolutely. I hope that's the relationship that you have with your current wealth professional. That's our goal at Axio, is every time we meet with a client, we want them to walk away with knowledge, because knowledge is power, right? And so first and foremost, we want to make sure those meetings are packed and delivering content that's direct to the family about things that can help them and steps they need to take, and helping to build them up along the way. The other is, I love clients that come to me and say, hey, I was reading this thing and had a question about it. We always love to engage in it. We put out a lot of content, and anyone that's listening or reading any of our content shouldn't take that as a personalized recommendation to themselves, but an idea that you should take to your professional and talk more in depth about and see if it's the right one for you. And so I think that lifelong learning goes beyond just your professionals, but also making sure that you feel like you're being educated along the way. I always get worried when I have a client that's not asking questions or doesn't desire that one the ability to learn about the strategies that we're doing. Because if they're not learning about it, chances are there's going to be a misalignment of some kind of understanding or concept along the path that's going to lead to a point of conflict at some time in the future. So we love having clients that are there and wanting to be able to learn.
And how much do you involve the family in that process, Rob, in terms of just kind of make sure that they're setting up their next generations, and kind of having that communication with their children, and kind of taking the information and the education they're providing them and kind of passing that down?
Yeah, boy, that's some of my favorite meetings, is when a client will say, will you be willing to meet with some of our minor children or even some of our adult children, to have that discussion with them and to try to help educate them. I love it. Some of these that are teenagers, will just take 30 minutes and talk to them a little bit about money and really personalize the discussion to them and helping them to be able to grow. And when we try to do that, on an annual basis, if that's what the family would like to be able to do. But boy, there's some great conversations, and I leave that meeting energized. We have so many amazing young people out there that's going to take over the reins of leadership in this world at some point. It gives you great hope for what's out there. But I love that proactive approach, because doing that early on is going to be so much easier than trying to learn through the school of hard knocks of doing it your own way and having to learn from experience, right?
Yeah, yeah. We can avoid learning through the experience of our own versus learning from the experience of others first. That would be a better position to be in. But what are some other ways, or I'm just curious how, and I know you were doing this video, and there's some other ways that you help educate. Just kind of curious some of the different ways that you do that, because I know it's you want to make it engaging, you want to make it fun, right? Interesting. It's not just about trying to speak to someone or at someone. A lot of times, you want to try to make that learning an engaging process. So, what are some of the ways you guys do that?
Yeah, we've looked at different resources that are out there. I love looking at child books that are available. Bernstein Bears has a few different books that are out there that are really, really great, that will, recommend clients to take and read a simple child's book together, and then talk about the money concepts that exist behind that. Even do sharing experiences about, how we're teaching our kids about money management. And not that there's any one right or wrong way, but usually just by sharing that experience, it helps sparks in the client something that they could be able to do with their child that would be a little more customized approach. I love talking to kids about investment. One of the best things they have on their side is time. When you look at the compound interest over a period of time, that's something you can't get back. Right. And so helping young people understand the ability to save early on and put a little bit away for another day in the future that can grow and compound, it blows their mind when they use an investment calculator and say, if I only put away X amount every month and earned an assumed rate of return of X, what that can be. And boy, it's cool to see the light bulbs go off.
Are you ready to unlock the freedom to live your best life? Schedule your no-cost 60-minute discovery meeting with our team today. During this session, we'll take the time to understand your family story and financial dreams. Together, we'll craft a personalized roadmap designed to help you achieve your goals. Let's explore how we can unlock the freedom for you and your family to thrive. Just click the link in the description of today's show to get started.
All right, so let's kind of close out then with some things people can do if they want to ramp up their education or want to continue to improve their financial literacy. What are a few things that you can be doing as a watcher of this show or a listener of this show today, tomorrow, this upcoming year to continue to improve yourself?
Yeah, I think one is, first, thanks for even listening to the podcast. This is probably a great place to be able to be at. That's a little bit of a biased opinion on my side, but love that you're here listening and wanting to be able to learn. And we hope to be able to keep putting out great content. I think other podcasts are great to be able to get other perspectives on, and books that are out there. But, I would say approach your current professionals that you're working with and ask them and say, hey, I'm looking for more content to be able to learn about X, Y, or Z. And because they know your situation, or at least they should know your situation, they can provide that personalized approach to you that, hey, this book or this podcast would really be meaningful to you because this is the direction that you're headed.
I love that. Very good. Well, check out AxioWM as well, .com to learn more about what they do, who all's involved, and some of the different ways that they help educate. There's some tools there on the website now, blog, books. We haven't even mentioned the books today on the show as well, Rob. I know you've written a couple of those that can help people out. Is My Family Going to Be Okay? And From Together to Triumph, both available on Amazon as well. So again, these are just some ways that Rob and the team try to help out and help educate you. But if you want to learn more, always best to sit down, have that face-to-face conversation and get to learn more about Rob and the team there. And you can do that, again, by going to AxioWM.com and taking advantage of that 60-minute discovery call and really kind of digging into some of what is important to you. All right, Rob, great stuff as always. Appreciate the education and look forward to learning more with you as we move forward.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate your time.